tried us, Dom.
Not yet.
Okay.
He'll just follow the prompt. So basically, he'll prompt you.
They heard all
Okay.
of that. What's up, everybody? What is up? I hit the Rax horns right on time. Welcome, one and all. Thank you, chat. Thank you, everybody, for coming on tonight. It is episode 21 of the LootCast right here on youtube.com/thegamelooters. And even though you read some of our topics tonight in the description, don't worry, this podcast tonight is not broken like most of the games out there. Tonight we are talking about WWE. Speaking about a broken game, that is one that recently came out. We're talking about Bethesda's new failure trying to save one of their broken games and get more money from their 1% of their fan base. We're talking about a game that's opposite of Bethesda, which is Outer Worlds. We're talking about those reviews that are rolling in and tons more. Tonight, we have a jam-packed show, and to go over all of these different topics, I have a fantastic lineup of guests tonight. First off, I want to introduce our first guest tonight, being Not Another Game Collector, gracing us for the first time on the LootCast. Mr. Adrian, how are you tonight, my friend?
I am doing great, and thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I think it's going to be fun.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. When I sent the invite, I was nervous. My hands were a little shaky. I was like, I don't know if he's going to say yes, but I'm going to cross fingers and send the message, and sure enough, here you are. What you been playing, my friend?
Currently, I started playing GTA again because they introduced the casino, and so you can go in there and win cars and money and all that. So I'd go play that, won more cars than I'd ever probably would have got playing the game otherwise.
Cool. So definitely going back into that GTA stuff. So a big online player?
Yeah, I try to stay clear of annoying people, which can be hard, but I just drive off to the desert or somewhere away from everyone.
Makes sense. Well, thank
around
you.
Gas stations and other things, whatever.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. Going right over to the man in the middle, Mr. Studio Nintendo, back for another one. How are you doing, Nick?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just using the time off work to catch up on some video games and play more video games. And I am currently almost at the end of Little Town Hero. But that last boss is rough.
A Gotti out here. This man's all over my Twitter saying, get this game a Golden Globe of video games.
Half of it's trolling, half of it is I really do enjoy the game. I really do enjoy the game, man. But man, that last boss is rough, bro. 3 phases.
How many go-rounds have you had so far?
With it, I did it. Okay, so you guys were streaming last night. I was in phase 2, finished phase 2, got to phase 3, did phase 3 3 times, and then I said, forget it. I'm done tonight. Like, I am done tonight. It's pretty rough. I don't understand why they had to make that last boss so impossible. Like, they made the game hard for the sake of being hard, which, but I still enjoy the game.
When you look at it aesthetically, you wouldn't think it's like the Sekiro of this type of games going in trying to beat you down.
For real, it's the Sekiro of RPGs recently. It's ridiculous. I didn't think the game would be that hard.
I commend you though, because honestly, like that battle system is definitely like it's either you're about it like you are, or you're just not. And I tried to be so hard, I just could not, and I was like, you know what? It's fine. The game's just not for me. Close app, put it down, and just
it's a very acquired taste. It's going to be a niche game for sure. Like a very, very niche game and I mean, they can improve on a battle system because I think there's much to improve there. They can make it better. They can definitely improve on it, but it can be rough, especially now. It's very frustrating.
I think it's cool that they tried to go the card game route. I just feel like they threw a lot at you real fast. And I think that might be what turns maybe a lot of people off too.
It is, and also that what they don't mention because it's a card game, but it's also an RPG. So you have the card tree, and what people don't know is they play it, but as you progress, like it's like in any RPG with a tree, you get your cards get better as you get throughout the game. So then it gets easier in the end. But I think it's kind of that's the opposite. I feel like it should get harder toward the end, not be hard in the beginning, get easier in the end, and then until you fight the boss. I just thought that was odd.
Yeah,
like it got way easier. I was like, this is way easier, Tina. All right, cool. And then I fought the boss. I was like, yo, I'm done. I'm done.
Not having it. Cool. Well, thank you for joining us for another week. We're here to talk about a lot of games that are broken tonight, so we appreciate you coming on. Speaking about broken, that leads me over into Mr. Your Player 2.
Wait, what? Why, speaking of broken, does that lead you into your player 2? Because I thought you were just queued up for a Dead by Daylight joke. Is that where you were going with that?
Yeah, because you're playing that broken game all the time.
Who was that joke?
Last week it was more of a golden retriever joke. This week was a broken joke. I just gotta kind of keep it coming.
It's fine. It's fine. I appreciate you bringing the funny, even if it's at my expense. I'm a big boy. I can handle it probably.
Well, thank you for joining us for another week.
Thank you again for having me on another week. I have a lot of fun whenever I'm here. Almost as much fun as I had murdering all of you in Friday the 13th last weekend in back-to-back 3 a.m. sessions, which this thing I was like kind of complaining about, at least on one of my streams. I was like, man, my sleep schedule's been messed up. Looters had me up till 3 in the morning. But really, that was a moment to pause and reflect on my own poor decision-making. I could have said no. I could have been like, you know what, I'm thinking out at 1 a.m. I'm not going to stay up till 3:30 in the morning playing. But I couldn't help myself because it was too much fun. It was a great time. I hadn't played it in a minute, so that was a lot of fun. Beyond that, yeah, absolutely. And yes, I have been playing a lot of Friday the 13th, yes, which I know you're a fan. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Appreciate it, Adrian. But anyways, no, and Dead by Daylight, despite all the hate you guys throw, is still a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it immensely. But really, more than that, single player wise, Witcher 3 has just got its hooks in me in a significant way. And Dom, I know you have been on that train as well. It's just
the Switcher.
Yeah, the Switcher. And arguably, I'm playing the most inferior version of the game. I recognize that, but again, it's like that portable aspect is appealing to me. It's an incredible game, and I'm like kind of kicking myself I didn't play it more when I originally had it on the PS4. And then today, even though it was kind of sad, like what, midnight launches just aren't what they used to be because they're not even midnight anymore. They just do them at like 9 o'clock. But I did go ahead and pick up Modern Warfare. I got a buddy who likes it.
It's
to play with him.
It's technically midnight, but it's New York time.
I mean, can you play it yet?
Well, but I'm in New York time and it's 9.
She's like, but I'm over there.
You sure?
I'm not in New York, but I am on this side of the country.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not a timeologist, but I think.
Don't you know that New York has its own time, Josh?
I do now.
It's the center of America. It has its own time. It's everything.
So worried. You were like, what?
Yeah, we're able to play shit at like 9 p.m. our time.
I know. You guys get it so much better.
I thought it was early. I thought it was early access to the servers, though.
I have no idea. All I know is like for physical copies, GameStop and Best Buy are both doing early release. Although I was really disappointed because I went to GameStop and I'd forgotten to pre-order Medieval.
Early?
Say what now?
Like how early for Best Buy?
Like they'll do it right before 9 p.m. Eastern. So like as long as you go in right before the store closes, they'll do it in like the 15 minutes leading up to close.
Yeah,
really?
That's how it works on our side, but that's what makes it midnight for us.
Oh, okay, I got you. Right, because it'll be midnight here at that point.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it was kind of disappointing because I went to GameStop first earlier in the evening to kind of hang out there for a minute, and I was like, "Are you guys doing a Medieval or early release?" They were like, "Yeah, we're gonna do Medieval early release." And I was like, "That's tremendous." So they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna do it early." No, they were truthful, and I was like, "Do you have any extra copies?" They were like, "We sure don't." I was like, "Why would you tell me when I'm so clearly excited for this?" I think they were just trolling because they know I'm going to be working there soon, so I think they were just having fun at my expense. So I went to Best Buy. Yeah, right. So I went to Best Buy. I was like, "Hey," are you guys gonna do early release for that? They were like, "We're doing it for Outer Worlds." I was like, "Right, but are you doing it for Medieval?" They're like, "We're doing it for Modern Warfare." I was like, "Medieval's a different game." You can do that one as well. And they were like, "Yeah, we're not gonna do that." So I'm gonna have to go see if I can grab a copy tomorrow. I was like, "Do you guys have a lot?" You can't even tell me, can you? And it's weird because the manager was like, "Technically, I'm not supposed to, but we got a lot of them." I was like, "All right, cool. I'll be back tomorrow." Then
I mean, there's no.
Why can't they tell people? I don't.
There's no rule. Ours tells you today.
That's stupid.
Like for Call of Duty, our guy was like, "Yeah, we have like almost 100 out in the back," and I'm like, "All right."
Yeah, like I don't know if it's just like a manager discretion thing or what, but he was like real cloak and dagger about it. But I don't know. It was nice because he made it seem like he was doing me a favor. He was like, "I'm not really supposed to do this, but you're good. Just come by tomorrow."
You show up tomorrow. They're like, "Yeah, we sold both of the copies we had."
I know.
You told me I was good.
And they're gonna be like, "On our website, we absolutely do," and I'm gonna be like, "Of course you do." So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with games for the week. But yeah, I'm excited.
Sweet. But thank you for joining us for another week. And that leads me over to the narrator, the man, the myth, Mr. Mono Pulse. Thank you for coming on another week. Like you have a choice. Appreciate you here.
God, no, it's mandatory. It's a mandatory podcast. If you're watching this podcast, you also must attend. One day used to be optional. Now it's mandatory. So we'll expect to see you on.
It's in his contract.
It's in the contract, and it's now in yours. So just made it's lawful.
Read the terms and conditions, people.
Read the T&C. And this week, honestly, it's been a pretty light gaming week. I've been catching up since we knocked out the other 2 reviews. I have been putting some time into Cat Quest 2, and I've come to the opinion. I'm ready to let that opinion out coming weekend. But for me, I guess Outer Worlds, I started booting that up tonight. It's not been a fun experience. I am downloading it to your Xbox now, though, Dom, so that should probably be a little bit more smooth sailing. PC's having some issues. 60 frames or bust, and even then. But I actually might have been my video card overheating, too, because the fan wasn't turning on. So I don't know. I messed with it for like 10 minutes. But Outer Worlds is going to be next up in the playlist. That's what's on my agenda for tomorrow. We're going to stream it tomorrow as well.
Yeah, Outer Worlds hype. It's out of this world. I really want to challenge you and not say that during the stream. Like, this game's out of this world, guys.
This game's out of this world.
Never would have came to my mind. Now you said it. Now I'm gonna do it.
Right, you have to. It's like the stream name, stream title.
World. Outer World's out of this world.
Do I sound weird to anyone? Apparently.
No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Do you?
Well, fucking Rax is saying apparently I'm going through puberty. So I was making sure that like I sounded fine.
Your voice sounds smooth.
Fuck you, Rex.
There you go. Well, then that leads us into what we've been playing. I'll let her go in just a sec. I'm just like Josh. Honestly, I haven't really been playing much this week. I've just been playing The Witcher 3, and much like he said, I'm actually disappointed in myself for not completing the game like 4 years ago when I should have. I got stuck on it and I never went back. I played again, I got stuck again, I never went back. And this time I'm far beyond where I was the last time, and I am going to stick with it because I want to see what the DLC is all about. The story just keeps getting better and better, and playing on the Switch Lite has been just a fantastic time. I just love laying in bed playing on the Switch Lite on Witcher 3. It's been a good time, and I really, as soon as I get done with this, I do want to go back to Dragon Quest. But you know, if the news, which is what we're going to talk about today, I think I'm going to have more time to get back to some of my backlog as time continues rolling on here with some of the games that may not be coming out anymore. So it's going to be a crazy show. What have you been playing?
I mean, nothing with you apparently, because all you ever want to fucking do is play Witcher. I'm not even joking. This bitch, I gave him twice 2 options.
Whoa.
I was like,
Shot
hey,
fired.
do you want to play? And he's like, well, what do you want to play? I was like, well, the main 2 I've been wanting to play, of course, Monster Hunter Iceborne. Because he still needs to defeat the final boss before we open like the last area of the game, and then like I don't fucking care what he does anymore. Or the Destiny 2 expansion that he made me buy because he said it's like,
I came, I saw, I tried.
He was like, please buy it for me. Like I've been really wanting to play, and I straight up told him, but are you actually gonna play with me? And he's like, yes, I promise. He's played with me once since I bought it, and I got
he didn't
it.
Lie.
Thank you, Nick.
Well, I keep offering. I was like, hey, do you want to play? Like, you've only ever played this once with me, and he's like, but Witcher.
It's a valid argument.
But the Witcher.
Yeah, so I'm like, whatever.
No, but the Switcher.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny, man.
God. So yeah, I mean, that's been my week.
Better not scorn Cynthia too much. You'll wake up dead, sir.
I know, right? Last time this one man played The Witcher and woke up with the Switch on his body. Well, speaking about games that aren't broken, like The Witcher, which is a fantastic port on the Switch, that's going to lead us right into this week's news and talking about broken games, starting off with a little game called WWE. Mr. Monopulse, take us into this week's news.
This week has been nothing. but broken pushbacks. I think that's, if we're to talk about the surmise of the week, it's broken and pushed back. But we'll start with broken, right? Broken. WWE 2K20 is broken in every possible way. This story coming from Kotaku, but you can't really Google it without finding your own article. Before WWE 2K20's release this week, fans were already feeling antsy. Behind the scenes tumult and some unflattering early footage left them with a gnawing fear that this year's professional wrestling game wouldn't be up to snuff or even on the same level as the not exactly beloved series entries from the past few years. Those concerns turned out to be well-founded. WWE 2K20 is riddled with glitches. This year's World Wrestling Entertainment's tie-in game, published by 2K and developed by Visual Concepts for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, has been out for less than 24 hours, I think 2 days now, but fans have already compiled lengthy lists of bugs, missing features, and other issues. Chief among them are freezing and crashing glitches, rampant animation problems, missing fan favorite modes like Create a Championship, missing features like online wrestler entrances, and online user-created arenas. Online lag, truly unfortunate character models for high-profile characters like The Rock and John Cena, nightmare hair, a created character face scan feature that gives life to cosmetic horror slug monsters, and a glitch that causes clones of wrestlers to dot the ring as though summoned by an irate Naruto. That was a whole paragraph of glitches. Currently, WWE 2K20 has a mostly negative review rating on Steam, and a hashtag called Fix WWE 2K20 is trending on Twitter in the US. Have y'all seen some of these tweets going
I
Yeah.
was going to ask you guys, have any of you guys seen these videos?
Yeah, I've been
of
scrolling through
these
Twitter.
glitches?
They're amazing.
Oh my god.
Like,
It,
they're
it
so
makes you
good.
wonder
Ever.
how the game actually got put on shelves. Like,
Bro, it's 2K. It's 2K, dog.
but still though,
Bro, it's
like,
2K.
it's the dude who's like doing QC or whatever quality checks, just like, yeah, put it out.
No,
I just
it's
feel
2K.
like-
They're notorious for this, dude. Like,
Yeah.
especially with the NBA 2K, they're notorious for putting a game out buggy, and then we'll fix it with a patch in a week or something. They're notorious for doing this.
Mhm.
That's crazy. But to this extent, I mean, like, I
This is bad,
understand.
though. This is
Yeah, this seems like
bad.
It's really
but-
bad. I've never seen a game this broken before. Like it was one of those to where like you damn right knew what was fucking going on before they launched this game. They're like, I mean, it's a $60 game. At this point, they're like, well, we're just gonna risk it. Like, there's no point in holding it back because it takes just a year, and then like, it's just terrible.
I would like to find out who's responsible for pushing the game out. Was it WWE? Because right
Who
now
owns it
WWE,
now?
well, 2K, but I'm saying like was WWE important because
it was pushing the pressure.
Yeah, like WWE, like the company, because I watch wrestling, but they've been pushing this game for the last 3 months on commercial before the games even come out. Like all they've been doing is promoting this. They just got on Fox Sports and Fox, but that deal with SmackDown, and like they've been doing nothing but pushing and promoting this game. I wonder if they were the ones that put the pressure on whoever to get this out on time.
Even if they are, they're probably fucking pissed.
Yeah, I'd be mad too.
Yeah, they're like, we've been spending all of this money on advertisements and just showcasing our game, and it's just broken. It's trash right now. I mean, literally, the only reason why I would want to play is because of the glitches, just to see how fucked up.
Morbid
like,
curiosity.
Yeah, just because it's that bad.
I mean,
but
seriously.
I would never spend $60 for it,
Hey,
and I hate
Visip's
wrestling
right.
games.
Visip's right. He said 2K don't care if Vince McMahon cares, even unless he's right. Like they don't care. The game's out. They got people's money. They'll fix the game later. That's how they always do.
They got to be in the hole though, dog. Like seriously,
No,
like
I don't
the sales
think so.
can't be there. How many sold?
Aren't they?
think a
Aren't they
million
in an
last year.
in-house
Really?
production right now for it?
Dude, the game is popular,
At,
bro.
at launch though, like launch.
The game is really popular. I would not
Enough people, yeah, they'll just buy it just because.
exactly like
the
just
name.
like for the name for the
Well, the
WWE,
thing- the
just like
thing is,
NBA
though,
2K,
it's-
they will buy the game.
Yep.
I don't know, like because the game is so bad right now, I feel like people wouldn't want like I would if
Oh,
say if I
no.
bought it, I wouldn't want my friends to know I fucking bought it. Its fucking game looks like trash.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not gonna buy it now because it's broken. But like, they like the cult following people
The
that
diehards.
once you play this game, the diehards have already pre-ordered it, ready to go, ready to play. They already have those sales. Like, they don't care. They're gonna fix the game later. Same with NBA 2K. Like every year they do this with NBA 2K. 2K is notorious for it. Game comes out. There's always a glitch in the beginning, or there's always something broken. Don't worry, we'll patch it later, and then whatever. But we've already got your money. Like 2K is notorious for this. So bad for this.
Honestly, that culture is right. I have like a group of friends who play 2K, and they're like, "Yeah, Blacktop is just broken. I'm just gonna play my career till they fix it." It's like that's like the worst mentality like in the entire world.
Every year.
And
it's from the same company. Like eventually, like they gotta fix their stuff, but they just don't. They just never ever do. So this doesn't surprise me. Like it doesn't surprise me at all. The game I played NBA 2K 18 or 19. I can't remember when they offered it for free on Xbox Live. And that game was just bad online, period. Like, so for me to hear like they have online lag, that's a common thing. Like people don't even have like, I know that people do wrestling leagues, but they don't even like play them. They like literally create wrestlers, build them up, and then they have simulated matches. Like it's just crazy.
What?
But
Is that really?
Yeah, there's a big community. If you look up the WWE community on Twitch and Mixer, like they have people that create characters and you build them up and then you put them into this quote unquote wrestling league, but you don't play the online matches. They're all online simulated because online is so bad. It's always been bad. Like it's just such a bad lag fest. It's terrible.
That's crazy.
Oh, wow.
So this does not surprise me at all. But all the glitches though, like all the mechanical glitches, the entrances, the knee walking. Now that is mind blowing. That is mind blowing.
The cabled wires to the actual what is that thing called?
The ring.
The ring. Yeah, dude. They just. It's the funniest thing I've seen.
Watch it. Let me watch it.
I'm
always tempted.
No, let me go watch this.
Oh my god!
I was telling her too, like I want to play a good wrestling
through
game.
The fucking stage.
But then I saw this and I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know.
It's like these glitches are probably one of the funny.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, right. Yeah, the zip lines or whatever they're called, the lines for the ring. It's the funniest thing ever.
And if you guys or whatever.
And if you guys haven't seen what we're talking about, like you guys need to just like in Twitter, just put WWE, and you guys are gonna start getting flooded with all of these.
They're
glitches.
tremendous.
Look, I'm not even following it, and my Twitter feed is just I've seen like 10, 12 tweets.
Yeah.
Like it's just happened to show up.
I happened to see like one of the first ones that came out, and it was just on some dude's Twitter, and I was like, what the fuck? And then it was like 12 hours later, that's when like the stories started coming out of like how bad this was. I thought at first it was a one-off thing, and then I just started seeing everything.
Yeah, I don't think it was a one-off thing. Like I was hearing about these glitches probably. I remember it was, and actually I'll give a big shout out. It was RGT85 who originally reported that this was really bad because he's a big wrestling fan. Like it was almost like he was reading reviews, and then reviewers were already saying this game is so bad. Like
so the crazy thing is on Metacritic, the review wasn't even out, and
wow.
There's speculation saying it's like, well, no one got it early because it was fucking broken.
I don't know how that's
anybody
possible.
Playing it earlier.
I don't know how that's possible because literally I heard this was like literally a few days ago, like around this weekend before the game even came out. Like people were already saying it was glitchy and it was terrible. Like I remember Spawnway put a video out about it. RGT put out a video about it. So the word was out there. I don't know how it got out there, but the word was out there that it was bad already before the game even came out.
What's crazy too is a lot of people were on the internet were doing comparisons between this and 2K15 and 16
or even 2012.
And the games in the past were looking better. And that 2K reuses assets. So I'm just like, how when it's mostly copy paste and no gaming creating games isn't copy paste, but and essentially it's like, how could they ship something that was just this mind-blowingly broken when essentially it's just last year's game? Wrestler really don't change, right? Like an NBA player may go have a beard in 18 but then doesn't have one in 19, or they get a face guard, or they wear a headband. They change, but like a lot of the wrestlers, they kind of have like their one. Like their
the
one
animations
look.
And all that
yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
their same moves, like their signature moves and stuff. So it's like, I don't know.
That's an interesting question. I wonder what changed, because like you said, they do that a lot. Like what changed that you have these glitches all the time?
There was a huge change as far as who actually made the game. Ever since 2014.
Right, it
WWE,
changed from THQ to 2K.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, but
I
Yuke's the Japanese company Yuke's that's been creating wrestling games forever. They signed on with 2K in 2000 whatever it was, 12 or 10.
They had made a huge
and they left halfway through the
contract or whatever.
No, halfway through the creation of this game.
Well, yeah.
Oh, this one? Okay, well that might be.
Yeah,
that explains it all right there.
What, in 2014? I think it was.
No, they just left this year.
Oh well, but yeah, I mean, there was no way that they were gonna be able to take it over and complete it. I mean, I don't think they were just well prepared for it after the Switch.
It's just crazy.
But I will say the glitches look. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I also wonder what like Nintendo was saying too. I wonder if there was something contractual to where they had to get it out. It just
they put one out every year. So I mean, you can't. It's hard to push back an annual franchise like that. It's hard to do it whenever people are expecting it to be out. You can't just say, "Oh, we're pushing it back a month." People will be upset about that. We had a year and you put it out every year. Fans would be mad about that. Just imagine if they push back Madden or 2K for a month. Dudes would be mad. Can't play my Ultimate Team for a month. That's messed up. Can't play my Park for a month.
Yeah,
it'd be crazy.
Did one of you tweet I can't remember, but I saw it today is a game gets pushed back, it has the chance to be a good game. If a game comes out bad, it's bad forever. And that's not as true anymore with the internet coming out. I mean, you have chance to salvage with bugs. Now, what you can't usually salvage is first impressions. Absolutely not.
Right.
I'll take your Mass Effect Andromeda, bro.
Yeah,
games don't survive a first impression like that, dude.
They generally don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is true. I mean, might as well push back. That's why I'm okay with Doom getting pushed back. That's why I think The Last of Us 2, I mean, if they see something that's not living up to their standard, I would much rather. And they don't want to, we have, what was it? What game was it? They said that they wanted to make sure that they weren't stressing the workload too much. I can't remember what title was it. Oh my God, Animal Crossing, where the studio was we don't want them to hit a rush date or whatever like that. So, ultimately, I think the fans could maybe stand to be a little reasonable. Yeah, I know that's asking a lot,
but what I'm saying is, but the difference between those games that you mentioned, or those are one game that.
Right.
They're not annual releases like these. 2K is
they got 365 to get it out.
Right. Yeah. So with those games, it's different. I've been waiting you've already been waiting for years for the next Animal Crossing to come out. What's gonna hurt a few more months to wait? And they give you a reason. Here's why. There's no, Dom said, there's no excuse for us to have bugs in it. Yeah. It's a yearly release, same assets, whatever. But as Cynthia said, whatever the change that they had, that was probably what it was.
If
whoever's doing it out wasn't ready.
I mean, just like how you said with the whole Animal Crossing, and what was the one that was announced today?
We'll talk about it later.
Well, yeah. It's shit like that. I appreciate the ownership that those companies have, saying, hey, you know what? It's just not ready, and we don't want to give you a game that, would be disgraceful to you, because you guys are, our fan base, and, we want to give you a good-fledged game, working day one. That's fine. I'll wait. But to post out a broken game like this, that, dude, that's terrible.
I've also, if you notice the trend of these companies that have these games that come out like this, they're the Activisions, the EAs, and the 2Ks that are forcing out games yearly like this. Yeah. If you've noticed those trends, if you've noticed the trend, it's always the same three that have the same problem.
Yep.
Every time they have a yearly release on Call of Duty or Madden or 2K or whatever. It's these games that have annual releases that's
they should
notice there's a trend there.
They should do it every other year, or every 3 years, have one game on a rotation.
I agree.
They used to do that with Call of Duty. It rotated between the companies that make them.
So
it rotates in the development. Yeah, they have 3 different developers. They still do that. They still do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it still does.
Okay.
Well, they do that too with the Battlefront 2, right? They've done that once with the rotation.
Oh yeah, well they do Battlefield and then Battlefront now.
Right. Well, yeah.
You Dice and them, that didn't work out well for them.
No, it didn't.
They were
But
going
usually
to,
with
but it didn't work out well
with the
for them.
battlefields, they'll do the main, the battlefield numbered, and then they'll do like a spinoff like Hardline or whatever it is, Bad Company, and those usually do fall to different development teams depending on what they're releasing.
But yeah, but
so they do that, but they don't do that with these 2K games, or they don't do with like
there's too
Madden
much money
and
in it for them. They're like, why would
that's the point?
Yeah, why would we settle on one game a year when we could push out 3?
That's the point I'm trying to make. Like you can see the money greediness, cringiness with these releases.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yo, get it out. We'll fix it later, but get it out. We got to make this money. Like that's literally how these companies think, and you should be insulted as a gamer.
Well, I got to vote with you on that, right? I guess that's what they always say, but I don't know if that's ever worked. Has it worked yet? Has anybody been put out of business because we didn't buy their game? DICE is still making games. Bethesda's still making games. I don't mean to be cynical about it, but like at the same time, they don't go anywhere. Like, what do we do? Literally, what do we do?
I think with the larger publishers, the only thing that's going to end up happening is they're just going to go to free-to-play models and try to squeeze you out a different way.
Well, you did win one thing because you did speak with your wallet with Battlefront 2, and you're now getting a solid Star Wars game coming out that's not monetized in any way and is going to be a fingers crossed, yes.
They
but
keep
that's
saying it.
Not going to be monetized in any way, and it's going to be a good single player experience. So
I hope Nick.
So I mean, they at least listened there with the Star Wars franchise because it was Star Wars, but they haven't listened with anything else.
I'm really surprised with the success that Respawn's done with like not only just the Titanfall series, but like Apex Legends in general. They obviously see that Respawn can make a microtransaction game. I really hope they do stick to their guns on that and don't put some sort of multiplayer experience in later on.
Did you hear what happened with the Apex though? Like they did that themselves. Like Respawn made an Apex themselves. Like apparently they didn't have EA's backing on it. EA didn't even want it, and then they put it out, and it's a success. And EA's like, "Oh, we love Apex now." Well, yeah, love it. Right. Absolutely. But like that's just the funniest part when I heard that story. Like EA did not want Apex to come out.
Well, because it's a branch from their Titanfall IP. Like it's in the same universe, so they it's probably like a passion project for them. Which is
you know what? I heard rumors that EA purposely crushed Titanfall 2 so they could buy Respawn at a cheaper rate. So,
oh really?
I heard those rumors, but yeah, like that's crazy when you hear those rumors. But the fact that you didn't want a battle royale game that can make you tons of money, like that makes no sense.
Do you think that EA took that stuff out of the new Star Wars game, as far as we know, because they wanted to, or because Disney and them said, "Look, you got to fix this, or you're not making our games anymore"?
Either way, we win. Whoever did it.
Yeah.
Either way, whoever did it
wins.
Whoa,
it is important to remember the victories, I guess. I'm sorry, Adrian.
No, you're fine. Everything froze on my screen. It just went. I was like, "Well, what happened?" Okay,
I think it's a mixture. But to answer your question, I think it's a mixture of things. I think it was Disney getting flack for Battlefront 2. I think that was a big one. I think Respawn also was like, "Yo, leave us alone. Here's Apex. Leave us alone with this one." And I think that was another thing. I think that's really what it comes down to. I think it's just a whole bunch of things that accumulated to this game. But
well, I hope it's good because it looks awesome. So,
but yeah, if you vote with your wallet, if you complain enough, you'll at least get one game from one of these developers that's good, or one of these publishers that's good.
Well, as we keep talking about voting with our wallet and being money hungry and chasing the dollar bills, there is one company that is deciding to chase off its very small fan base and go after all of their dollar bills and their pennies and their quarters and their nickels and everything else. Mr. Monopulse, tell us about a little company, a little wee family company called Bethesda.
Small family company, yeah. Near and dear to our hearts. They're a small startup, and they've only put out several titles worth multi-billion dollars. Bethesda is now trying to squeeze a little bit more money out of their Fallout 76 community. I can't contest the small community because I couldn't find actual logon numbers, but they are now selling a $100 annual subscription exclusive for Fallout 76, or for exclusive Fallout 76 features. This also coming from Kotaku. Again, can't really click on the internet and find not something scrolling through some feed on this because it's made and been publicized so much. But last week, publisher Bethesda announced that the game's much requested addition of computer-controlled characters was delayed until next year. One of the major gripes about the series for people who aren't turned on by just listening to audio logs. Today, the publisher said that it will be selling premium subscriptions that will provide players with access to private servers at a cost of roughly $13 a month, or roughly $100 a year. Bethesda calls the new program Fallout First and pitches it in a new blog post as a quote-unquote premium membership that offers something players have been asking for since before launch: private worlds for you and select friends. For the cost of that subscription, a player gets access to a private version of the world. It's come out that's not exactly the case, but they can share with up to seven other players who also have to be who don't also have to be subscribers. You can just have one person and then 7 other people. Bethesda also indicates that those private worlds will at some point be able to support mods, which is something the community has asked for as well. In addition to private server access, subscribers get a lot of other items like a survival tent that's a fast travel point. You're gonna get your atoms, your premium currency, 1650 of them. You're also gonna get a stash box that has infinite item holding capabilities. But since the release, the actual game quality of Fallout 76 have been improving with some new quests and meat theme events, and its players remain creatively inspired. But there's still a myriad of gameplay frustrations, and the overall enterprise is still frequently dismissed as a misfire. Delivery of not quite Fallout MMO, but not quite proper Fallout game is its de facto title. So I do have something to say on this, but I'm wondering what the panel has to say as well.
You go ahead.
Crash.
So what I'm going to say is not in defense of this, because as information has come out, right, just to kind of bring everybody up to what they're talking about. First of all, the system that's supposed to be infinite inventory, apparently it's not. Apparently items that you put in there actually have been being deleted. So they can't, they're not even implementing their promises, or there's faulty code, something going on. It's not working right. Number 2, the private servers are not private. If you don't want somebody to join, like say I want to play with friend A, B, and C and D, but friend F is a dick, he can still join your server because there's no way to actually log out a player if they're on your friends list. They can just join on you and join. Not only that, but private servers are not like instance to you, which means that they are also not fresh. People have found dead NPCs, completed quests, and looted items. So what I'm going to say is this. This is not worth it now at all. But this is coming from a different kind of gamer than people who will play a console game, play that title, wait for the next installation. I play things like WoW. And I'm not aberrantly opposed to a subscription service if the content is there. WoW puts out an X-Pack every 3 years. They update that X-Pack at least 6 to 7 times over the course of the 3 years it's there. They implement work all the time. They have customer support. The things that they work, they fix. And it's worth, now that's $15 a month, and that's a very old game model. So when people are like $13 a month for a subscription server, that's out Boulder Dash. Like, shut up. That's not unheard of. And it's not out of the realm of possibility if you're going to deliver game content over the course of a long period of time. If Fallout 76 was going to be better for 5 to 6 to 7 to 10 years and be one IP, I understand it. But the fact of the matter is that what they have for sale right now is trash. That's just plain and simple.
Yeah.
It's trash. Not only with the game content, because it's a very small map with very little to do, but even what they're offering to sell you with the service isn't worth $10 a month. But it's not unheard of to have a subscription service. And that was some of the backlash I didn't understand. It was like, well, this is crazy. It's like, well, it's an MMO model. That's obviously what they're doing. I would rather have a subscription service than pay to win items in an atom shop for $7 a piece. It's actually cheaper. I'm not playing the game, but that's how I would prefer it. That's what I have to say.
And that's the thing, like, I feel like they missed the mark just kind of period with the game, because it wasn't purely an MMO experience, right? They just sort of tacked on MMO functionality into a game where I think fans already had an expectation for the Fallout series, right? That you were going to get this deep and fulfilling single player narrative. But then, I mean, yes, the idea of exploring like the wasteland and everything is cool, a cool thing to do with friends. But I think if that experience had been designed from the ground up more seriously, instead of using an existing engine and sort of like tacking that functionality in after the fact, I think that probably caused them a lot of problems initially, because we know the game wasn't stable to begin with, really. And that's like, just the quality of the game itself, notwithstanding people having issues with no true NPCs and things like that. But I feel like the thing that is just a tremendous misstep from a marketing perspective is that, it's been like a running gag for about a year now, the whole Fallout 76 experience. But you do have this loyal player base, right? There are people who, for better or worse, really enjoy it. My dad is one of them. I don't understand it, but I respect it because he's my father. And to reward these people that have like stuck through all of the hate that the game's gotten, the rough launch, like the kind of emptiness of that world, I guess, in a way. Instead of rewarding that loyalty, really they've just sort of tried to nickel and dime them further. Now, to your point, I do agree with the model in some respect. If it is, like for an MMO and you've got, this sort of expansion pack mentality, but I think that only really works. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I don't think they will. I think that their original vision was always to try to find some, software as a service, this thing, and just have people try to pay continually for it. But that really only works if you've got like a premium experience from Jump Street, or at least a stable one, which they didn't have, and a lot of people would argue they probably still don't have. So I just think that's an incredibly hard sell to put on people. It's like they've just had like one circus after another with this game, and I feel like they're not really breaking precedent here. I'll say that. It
seems like they're looking like this. They're like, yes, I know exactly. I completely agree with that point. It's like I don't disagree with a subscription model. I just don't think they have anything to sell.
Right. Like the subscription model is great if the value's there, but again, great marketing will only make a bad product fail faster. They can try to try to push this thing up and be like, oh, look at all this cool stuff you get. But if the core is not great, and I think we can all agree that it's not, that's going to be an incredibly hard sell, except for the most devoted Fallout fans.
Not only that, nobody knows what the roadmap's like. Like we have what's going to happen for this like 1 year, and like nobody knows.
The other problem, too, is to their devoted fans, they promise a ton of fixes for the game to fix a lot of the things that their dedicated fan base has been griping about. And they said that was coming, but what did they get first? They got some subscription service prior to any of the fixes actually happening. And that's the biggest slap in the face to your fans is this over that? Like
it gets even worse because at least one, if not two of the things they're selling you are things that they promised they implement without any charge.
Yeah,
it gets even worse because the storage, like item inventory thing, like that's been a gripe since day one. Like, oh, you can only store 400 pounds worth of material or 400 line items, and they're like, well, it has to do with servers. The servers can't handle it. Like that was the whole argument. Like, so if we do that, we're gonna break the whole game. And they're like, we figured it out. Just buy it. Just buy it.
$100.
Yeah. Which. Again, I mean, like 3 months of WoW or something was like 75, or maybe 6 months to 75.
Yeah, but like you said, for what you're getting though, it's
correct.
It's how far does your dollar
go? It's not broken.
It's bad. It goes much farther because each WoW has probably hundreds and hundreds of hours of playtime, each expansion pack. Whereas this, I don't know.
Do they even have an expansion pack for the game?
No, and that's the thing. The roadmap goes up to a certain point. Phase 1 was like they did the Scorches, and there was the Scorch Beast like dragon thing or whatever, and that was supposed to be like the end of Phase 1 of the story is you kill the Scorch Beast, and then they were going to implement more story, but nobody knows when that's going to happen. They push back NPCs, which I think is really shooting themselves in the foot because that would probably turn on a lot of players that maybe initially weren't because there weren't NPCs included, even though it made sense in the storyline, which, love it or hate it, that could have just been a writing cop-out for not wanting to develop it. I understand that. There's no, like, I see them making Fallout 77 at some point, like not adding more content to this game, but releasing their own standalone new $60 buy-in, buy all your shit over again. Like that's just how they're playing. And they're not doing like WoW where it's you, if you have your stuff from 10 years ago on some character, if you want it, because it's the same world, persistent. I just don't know what they're doing. I don't get it.
I mean, here's the other thing, too, that I want to post, everybody. What if this is one of these... what if there is nothing beyond that roadmap that you talked about, Chris? What if this is like one of the last-ditch efforts to get the initial money from the people who are going to subscribe for the 1 year, subscribe on a monthly basis, and then after that 1 year... there's nothing left here. They say, oh, well, we've moved on to the next game. Well, but then they initially get all of that upfront money. It wouldn't even surprise me from these companies because these are the type of moves that we've been seeing.
I wanted to ask real quick, does this like $100 subscription at all like provide anything towards the Battle Royale pass thing that they do?
No, they're not doing it like a season pass, if that's what you're asking. I think it's literally like 4 things: private servers, a few items. I mean, one of the things that people were like, "Hey, my food spoils," and they're like, "Here's a $7 refrigerator. Buy it on the item shop." And they always said, like, "Oh, well, you won't. There's not going to be things on the item shop. It's going to be purely cosmetic." They lied. There's if you want a gameplay enhancement, it's on the item shop now. People won't buy a 77, and they are lucky to have people that are still playing 76 to some degree, but it's just how much they just consistently screw people.
Right, like Josh said, what confuses me and what Josh said is, why are you not appreciating the people that are still playing this game? Yeah. Why are you trying to nickel and dime them? Like, I agree with what he said 100%. This just seems odd. The game was not very, very successful. Like, and I know people wanted their own personal servers, but
this is definitely not.
And it doesn't seem like what's included is worth it either. No, you get some atoms and you get some currency so you can buy stuff, but what are you gonna do when it's all out? Like, now, if maybe they would have added some, will give you so much a month, that would have been probably different. But it seems like it's a one-time payment of a certain amount, and then you're done.
I think the last Fallout I really enjoyed was New Vegas, even though I know it was made by a different team. I played 4.
Go play the Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds?
Go play the Outer Worlds. Same people.
Well,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, same team.
Obsidian,
publisher.
maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No, but what I was gonna say, sorry, Josh.
Oh no, you're fine.
Is that this is definitely not geared towards new fan base at all. I mean, no one new coming into this game is gonna automatically pay $100.
There's no one new coming into the game.
No. And it is, Josh, like how you said, it's like almost a slap to the face to the current community. Be like, we know you guys are dedicated, but we're broke, so can you just give us more money, kind of thing?
Right. Can you help us fund this game?
Laying around?
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to force the people playing the game to pay for this so they can fund their further development of the game.
Right, and here's what I'll say, like, and this is going to sound harsh, but I truly believe this. There is a massive silver lining to this train wreck that has been Fallout 76 over the past year or so, and I think that, to me, that this is what it is. Historically, we've become more comfortable in the digital age with being okay with having the QA process outsourced to the consumer with this mentality of, oh, it's okay, we'll fix it in post. Now they can do it with video games because they don't have to ship a complete product. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Bethesda in particular often would get a pass because their games were usually so ambitious in scope, right? So we'd be like, oh man, Skyrim's kind of buggy. But like, well, that's okay. It's a Bethesda game. It's really ambitious.
Well,
but I feel like that era is over now. Because right now, no matter what they put out, even if they come up with a completely new IP, God help if they do another Fallout game, that will be under such harsh media scrutiny that is completely unavoidable, and that taste is not going to get out of people's mouths for quite a while. On that one. And I'm glad for it. They shouldn't be getting away with it. We just kind of forgave it for a long time, and I hope that they can't do this, especially and that's the other thing is I hate the damage that it's done to the Fallout brand, a brand that historically had stood somewhat for quality. Sure, there were some missteps here and there. There were some entries that people didn't like as much as the others. I know people were not as big of fans as 4, for example, but at the same time, people generally were, it had a really solid fan base of people who really dug it. Now that's not quite as defensible.
I don't know if you guys know this, but they've used the same engine since Morrowind.
We
right this day.
Yeah.
So now, just to piggyback on Josh's comment, the only reason why I ever gave Skyrim a pass, mind you, even though it's the same developers, is because we were allowed mods. Okay, we were able to go in and download whatever mod we wanted to, and yeah, sometimes it might break the game, but at the same time, like it gave content creators something to make and other people to download and see what they had created into your own world, and it put a fun little spin on it. There's nothing like that available for Fallout, and there never will be. I doubt that they're ever going to bring mods back, but that's the type of game that I'd be like more willing to see and be okay with breaking games in a sense. But yeah.
The thing about it is, I mean, Josh and Cynthia both are very astute observations. They have been basically getting away with releasing buggy games for a long time. This is somebody who's played Bethesda games for a long time, and I'm not like the authority, but every single Bethesda sandbox that has ever come out has had game-breaking bugs or something, maybe not game-breaking, usually, I mean, you literally in Oblivion, you could take paintbrushes and set them down and make an infinite staircase if you wanted to. It's not historically. Yes, you take paintbrushes; they don't fall. They don't behave with gravity, and you can make a staircase. Literally, this has been. That's why I didn't quite understand the backlash for 76, because their games have always been kind of garbage in a way, in a technical, like. But you're right; they have been ambitious, and secondarily, they have always been, like you said, Cynthia, moddable. And honestly, the community makes these games better than Bethesda has ever put out.
And that's why I liked them.
It's the community, and that's same thing to me. Is like, oh well, Skyrim's great. Skyrim with 50 mods is awesome. Skyrim without the mods is okay. But we have, I think that they hit some point. I don't know when it happened, because even Fallout 4, I think it was Fallout 4, because Fallout 4 came out and there was like, they removed that, they had the like weird dialogue wheel, and they like did some other stuff. And I think at some point people were like, hold up. And then they released Fallout 76, and they're like, "Oh no, I'm fucking done with this. This is too much." I feel like they're not going to get away with the same level of like quality control than they've been able to get away.
I think that's a good point. I think though with 76, because like you guys said, all their games have been ambitious, so people have sort of forgave them as far as it goes. But it just seems like Fallout 76 was not very ambitious.
It wasn't.
No.
So that, and I think that's the difference, though. I think it was ambitious in the way that it was like the first time they've ever done an MMO, and it was like the first kind of game that they've ever done like this, an online MMO for Fallout, at least in the universe. But Elder Scrolls wasn't them. This was them doing it by themselves. But it just seemed like it was just like, here we go. The fans will play it. They'll love it. They'll be ambitious about it. They'll forgive us, and then they didn't.
The thing about it is, though, is that I know that there was this thing is like, we didn't ask for a multiplayer Fallout, which, first of all, Fallout is just Skyrim with a different skin. I mean, it's the same engine, same game, essentially.
Yeah, never mind.
But in community, for every Oblivion, Fallout, Skyrim, whatever, there have been attempts to make multiplayer mods work. Very popular ones at that. There was a subset of a community that wanted to play these games with a friend. So I don't understand where it's like, we didn't ask for this. I think it's because they wanted Fallout 5.
I think the difference, though, in those ambitious projects is people wanted to do like a co-op experience with a friend, as opposed to Fallout 76 stripping away a lot of the story elements and the things that you can really quote-unquote experience with a friend weren't there. Instead, they got a system to where it was text dialogue. There wasn't actual NPCs that gave you real healthy stuff, which I know that maybe they were there in a different way if you use your imagination, but I'm talking about like the core experience. I think that's what people wanted, is they wanted to experience that with a friend, is that, they wanted to go into Skyrim and be vampires with the friend through that whole story arc, instead of, you know what I mean? I think it's more of that.
I mean, that makes sense. But now you can do that for $100. So just...
private servers.
What are you complaining about? Private servers that have already been picked through and the NPCs killed. Have fun.
Sounds like Blizzard. Don't you people have phones?
Yeah, right. Now for $100,
you too can have a private server. Well, I think that leads us into our next subject here, which was what I think we talked about changing up the order here. In talking about a bad game, I think we're going to talk about a good game that might be a little out of this world, Chris.
I thought you said that anybody who did that would get a minus 10 points for saying the pun.
Seriously.
And then you said it.
I had to throw it out there, though.
Do as I say, not as I do. But yes, you're absolutely right. Outer Worlds is out of this world. Metacritic score 84.6 aggregate, and that's from the average of PC, PS4, and Xbox One. All of them combined, divided by 3 is 84.6. 90 from the Game Machine. Outer Worlds is Obsidian Entertainment's magnum opus, an RPG with an enticing, multifaceted rule set in a dystopian, capitalistic society. Its only flaws reside in the combat system and gunplay, which I don't know if you guys saw any early access. That was my one, I don't know, but we'll see. But these are easily counterbalanced by the excellent writing and the many possibilities offered to the players. Let's hope Obsidian will explore the setting further, possibly with a much-needed sequel. Much needed. It's not even day 0 yet. 80 from RPG site. The presentation being lackluster should in no way be a deal breaker, though. Obsidian have crafted a smart, witty, deep RPG experience that feels confident in its own shoes. It keeps its focus on having good role-playing mechanics while still managing to have an involved combat system that improves on what we've seen and done in the genre before. Microsoft and Obsidian seem to be making their Outer Worlds a franchise, and if that's the case, then this is a hell of an introduction. Finally, we have a scathing 60 from VG247. That's VG247. It's safe, but very welcoming. I can even see it developing into sequels if Microsoft chooses to support it and the fans embrace it, which I have no doubt will happen. Some games are just made to cosplay. For those that were disappointed in Fallout 76 going online multiplayer, this is the single-player RPG that you've been looking for. If you're hankering for somewhere you can whisk away while the hours then chuckling and prodding at the locals, you won't be disappointed.
Well, all I have to say is Microsoft is leaping for joy with all these reviews right now, because when there's not a World 2, that's going to be an exclusive for Xbox and Windows 10. Mm-hmm. So they're like, yes, we finally hit. Thank God we bought Obsidian. Like, you already know they're happy about this.
Adrian, are you hyped for Outer Worlds at all? I've not really talked to you about it. I've talked to these guys a little bit.
I honestly didn't even know what it was. Sorry.
Fair. No, that's fine.
I'm turning on my Xbox right now and downloading it right now.
Sounds pretty hype from all you guys talking about it. So, is it kind of like Fallout, or?
It's like a space Fallout. It's made by Obsidian, which if you've a cult classic of Fallout series is New Vegas.
Yep, I love that game.
So you might be inclined to like this one. It's made by the same development team. A couple of people that were involved in the inception of Fallout as a series, the creators actually are involved in it too. So hopefully it's a good time.
Well, I'll definitely have to check it out. It sounds interesting. I like outer space kind of stuff. And I mean, I don't know. I like anything that has like cool guns and things like that. So, I mean, if it's got anything like that, then.
Apparently there's a Shriek Ray. Adrian, okay. Apparently you'll be able to shrink people down.
I'm gonna raise my hand here.
Got my interest peaked.
I'm with Adrian here. I'm gonna raise my hand. I've never been a big Fallout guy, so forgive me. Never have. Like I've watched my buddy play New Vegas. I remember when it came. I watched my dude play it. I was like, yeah, whatever. You know, I'll watch you play it. I don't need to buy the game. I'm broke anyway, so I'll watch you play it and I'll get the experience that way. But I'm looking forward to playing this game as my first sort of experience of a game like this. So I'm glad to hear that it's doing well. I
don't think you have to be a Fallout fan to enjoy this game. I mean, all it's using is the. If you played a Skyrim, essentially it's an open. Well, this one's I think a tunnel RPG. I don't think it's truly open world, but I think it's supposed to be big enough to where you don't feel it.
Yeah, I got a lot of BioShock and Fallout vibes from this game.
Yeah,
I am a big fan of BioShock, so I hope I enjoyed this game. I'm glad it's in Game Pass. Hey, shout out to Microsoft for putting that in Game Pass. Let's go. I'm gonna download that after this podcast. I'm gonna play it, and I can't wait because this seems like and I know my wife's going to enjoy this too because she loves games like this. She loves Fallout, so I'm looking at it right now because Don put the gameplay up on the thing. So yeah, this looks. Mm-hmm. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm pumped to play it too. Like, I didn't play a ton of Fallout games. Like, I played Fallout 4 a fair amount, 3 a fair amount. 76 I tried, didn't go great. And the weird thing is, I feel like not only am I glad to see this game's getting good reviews, and I agree with Nick that it does seem to have like a BioShock-ish sort of aesthetic somehow. But I feel like it's awesome, and I feel like they're getting a tremendous marketing push thanks to the fine folks at Bethesda, who have failed so fantastically in their recent launch. I feel like it's only going to help push people towards the Outer Worlds experience.
It seems like that's the case, though.
You're not even journalists are saying. I mean, that's some of the titles of the news articles that are coming out on it. So
not only that, people are like the dig is right now from the creators of Fallout New Vegas. Like they're really pushing that because everybody thinks the Fallout New Vegas has the one Fallout game that's good, and now you have this bad taste of 76. You come back, like they're doing a good job marketing this game.
Yeah. I'm pumped to play. I like you. I'm glad it's on Game Pass. But I'm also sad because I know it's just another of the deluge of like holiday games that we're getting that's going to make me sad. But I'm excited to play it.
What's that?
How come Microsoft can do this amazing shit, but also have some of the shittiest gaming experience I've ever had in my life?
I'll tell you exactly why. Because
so much passion.
who was that guy? Donnie D. whoever the leader was
Jay
of
Allard?
of Microsoft when the one came out. Like
Yeah.
their mindset, honestly, and people have the right to give Microsoft flack for what they did this generation because their mindset was not about gaming. For whatever reason, they thought that people wanted a console that you could do everything on and not game on. You know, and that was their focus because they got so in love. They were so in love with the Kinect that leadership thought, oh, well, people want the Kinect. They didn't realize that was a gimmick. So then they're like, well, let's make sure that your Xbox can become your TV thing, and you can do that. You can watch TV on it with the patch through, and you can do this and you can do that. And the focus wasn't on gaming as much. So then whenever they put the console out, everybody's like, where are the games? And then they're like, well, we don't have them. We only gave you, like,
I got Netflix.
I got nothing for you. We can give you Netflix. You can do this and that. Oh, we have Quantum Break, which was all right. We have Rise,
Rome.
Son of Rome, which was all right. You know what I mean? Like they had those games, but it seemed like after that they had nothing else for anybody else. That was the focus. That's why all those dudes got canned. They brought in Phil Spencer, and he's really just been mopping up this whole Xbox crappy mess.
Bullshit.
I think Xbox going forward in the future with them focusing on Game Pass and crossplay with Windows 10, and they're more focused on Microsoft as a brand, not so much the Xbox. And all the acquiring all these studios, they're going to have some games next gen. It's just they took so many hits from terrible leadership, and deservingly so. And deservingly so, they took hits.
I only bring this up because I'm using the Xbox on PC, and we've had really bad party issues where it just DCs all the time and chat DCs. And then I got on the Xbox with this guy Josh, which I'm sorry, I'm gonna let you speak. I promise.
Oh no, you're fine.
But we kept DCing when we were playing Friday the 13th. It's been a horrible experience.
Or use that beta app or
an annoying experience. But their Game Pass is phenomenal, and everything else has been great, and their feature with xCloud is looking good. So I don't know. That's all I had, Josh. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I agree with Nick. They just had such a rough start to this generation, and I think their critical misstep and the thing, and you have to hand it to Microsoft because they're course correcting now. And the problem was originally their plan was that they tried to basically force the consumer to fit their box, right? Because they were like, hey, we're the center of your living room. Hey, we've got the Kinect. And like you said, it was gimmicky, and nobody wanted that because gamers wanted, shocker, games that were exclusive to the platform and stuff that was going to draw them to it. And they didn't do that. And now they're starting to course correct now, right? Because they bought up a bunch of studios. They're trying to make sure they've got some exclusive experiences for the Xbox. But then on top of that, the fact that they're sort of transitioning away from the Xbox as a hardware platform that you sort of have to structure your life around. Now they're trying to structure it around the consumer, which is what they should have done in the beginning, where it's like you said, Game Pass, crossplay, making it so the app is on your phone, or potentially even having it set up. I think what they're going to end up doing eventually, as not Scarlet, help me, xCloud moves forward, is I think their ultimate end game is going to be to get Game Pass into a streamable place that can go into any of your devices. That way you're locked in because it's just so convenient, right? It doesn't matter if you're on an iPad. It doesn't matter if you're watching on your Vizio TV. It doesn't matter what the device is. They just want you in there. On the Nintendo Switch would be tremendous.
Remember those rumors last year, dude? All those rumors that ran.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I think once they accomplish, I think now they're in a good place where they're starting to see oh, okay, we need to rethink the strategy, and we need to basically fit because everyone's life, everyone's schedule, everyone's approach to gaming is so different. Some people are mainly mobile, some people only have a few hours to play, some people have huge stretches of time to play, and the more flexible they can make that fit into people's lifestyles, the better chance they're going to have. Nintendo made their comeback because they knew it's the millennial machine, man. They targeted young professionals, not necessarily kids, and they made a system that could go with you everywhere, and you could dock and have traditional experience. I think Microsoft took a page out of their playbook.
Yep.
Fair. That's not a bad assessment. I just think they're making some smart moves, buying Obsidian. Yeah, absolutely. And absolutely, the thing is Obsidian would not be around if Microsoft didn't buy them. They were
they were going to be done.
They were going to be done. And that's smart. And Microsoft Flight Sim, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it looks freaking phenomenal. And the infrastructure that they're putting in place for that is also phenomenal.
I'm excited for it. I don't even like Flight Sims even remotely. And I'm like,
it's going to have
my house.
If you go in the air high enough, ice on your windshield and on the wings and thaw if you get so down cool. In a it's gonna look just where they're going. I'm not a Microsoft fanboy. I don't care. I use their system every day. It's trash. I mean, it's not trash. It's a good daily driver, but it's annoying. But the thing is they seem to be making mostly smart decisions coming out of a place where they were making really bad, dumb decisions.
They got all those people
with their
out,
phones and everything.
But
Like,
like,
all those people out.
as you saw too, Chris, because the other day you got the update, right, to where basically you just push the Xbox button on your controller and your PC is basically like an Xbox, right? Like they're making those smart integrations, and they know now their PC community. They have something you can track your CPU usage, your RAM usage, your GPU usage, your frames per second. You can go live on Mixer. They're basically making the PC an extension of the Xbox. And then the cool thing is now they have Game Pass, so now I can play Outer Worlds on PC at 4K, 60 frames, blah, 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 blah. And then when I'm lazy, I can just go pick up my save in bed on my Xbox One X. Like, they're setting up a cool little ecosystem that I can easily go back and forth from.
Yeah.
And that makes me more excited as they continue to just, once they start to have the games, like that's their last piece of the puzzle, right? And hopefully Outer Worlds is the first part of that puzzle.
I feel like they're going to have the games at E3. I feel like this E3, they're going to just say, this is what we have for you. Like, everything's going to be coming out of E3. Everything. I feel like that's when it's going to be announced.
I mean, they even skipped Forza this year, which just tells me that Forza team is cooking up another fan, because all the Forza team, all they do is release like the best racing games you can play, period. Yeah. And next year they're gonna come out and they're gonna hit it hard with the new whatever.
Apparently, Playground's working on some RPG that we don't know about. I think Phil Spencer said the goal was to not just have AAA experiences, but have smaller experiences as well. So, like, all the developers are working on everything: AAA, AA, small little games, small mobile games. They're working on everything because, like Josh said, they're not just appealing to one, they're appealing to a whole demographic of people, like a lot of people. But we shall see. But Outer Worlds was a good step for them to get Obsidian and say, here, it's in Game Pass, and you already know if this game does well, and then 2 is going to come, then it's going to be on Xbox and Windows 10 exclusively.
Exactly. Once these reviews started rolling in, and I was like, yeah, I'm preloading that game right now on my PC, because I'm just like, I cannot wait to jump in and play this. And I think it's about to exceed my expectations, and it makes me
I hope it does,
excited.
Man. I'm excited to play it, and I know, like I said, it's going to be good.
And what sounds crazy, too, is I heard you can finish it in about 30 hours. And even though that's still a good chunk of time, with playing Dragon Quest and Witcher, which are these like 120-plus hour experiences, I'm glad to jump into something I know that I can finish if I want to go strong in a couple weeks. You know what I mean? Not a couple months. So that kind of
especially this holiday season, man. There's so many games coming out, man. Like Star Wars, Pokemon,
Jar Baby.
What's that game called? Jar Baby game.
Death Stranding.
Sorry, forgive me.
Yes.
Like,
I like how it's just now naturally Jar Baby.
Yeah. Chips and Sticks, he's getting the Jar Baby game.
Yeah, Chips is
Single Dad's Club.
Single Dad's Club. Wow. Single People's Club, not dads. That's funny.
That was Chip's idea. I just signed on to it. I didn't think it.
Single Dad's Club.
I was just like, that sounds funny. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Hashtag it.
Hashtag Single Dad's Club. We're buying Jar Babies.
Yo, you should do like a whole little vlog, taking it for a walk, taking it to the park.
test tube baby.
It'd be great.
Yo.
Oh my God.
But I'm still watching this gameplay, and I'm still blown away by this. Like,
I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be fun.
Definitely interest. It's piqued my interest a lot.
The worst critique I've seen is that the AI pathing is not great, but what if it's going in the whole same as New Vegas, Fallout, whatever? What fight has been just mind blowing? It's usually backpedaling and strafing, kiting whatever's in front of you and just being
right,
over and over again. So.
Right.
I think it'll just be the similar Skyrim experience, but hopefully just the story.
I mean, by the options that you make, you can get certain abilities that hinders your experience, that makes your character worse.
That's great. That's great.
I think they said you get 2 at normal, 3 at their hard, 4 at their one of their hardest, and you get 5 slots for just dumbed down abilities at their super hardest experience level. So I was that's pretty cool. Yeah, you go be a monster over there.
I'm gonna get all 5
over there.
I am ASMR incarnate.
Your character's gonna have a lisp, a limp, all of it. It's gonna be great. Well, moving on. What were we gonna say? Switching gears into war. What do you got cooked up in this agenda, Chris? What is this war? What is this war thing over here?
It's really, this one's a thing piece to know that these can be hit or miss. But this one made me think about one thing, and that was Battlefield. I just wonder what you guys thought on it. Doesn't have to be super in depth, but there was a commentary coming out in the GameSpot article. I believe this was GameSpot, which says war video games romanticize war in an unhealthy way. This coming from a Medal of Honor recipient. Dakota Meyer, a former U.S. Marine who was awarded the Medal of Honor for saving lives and sustaining injuries in 2009 military operation Afghanistan, has spoken up about how war video games romanticize war in an unhealthy way. Meyer said war video games may encourage people to think it's fun or exciting to kick down doors and kill people, but these are real-life nightmares that keep him awake at night. Suffering has become normal for people. It's become entertainment. Video games are about war. War has now been romanticized. It's been romanticized that it's cool, this image. I hear people say, I want to go kick down doors and shoot people in the face. Well, you've probably never done it then. We've got kids playing video games of the stuff that keeps me awake at night, and it's like, at what point do we start humanizing these things? Meyer went on to say that people are becoming desensitized to human suffering due in part to the increasingly graphic nature of video games and other entertainment. Now, this is kind of it's not new. This isn't a new idea, but I thought it was interesting that it was coming out in the news, not from a politician necessarily, because that's where you usually hear this crap from, but hearing it from somebody who was like a veteran who served. And he's probably, I mean, I'm not going to make any assumptions. He may be just one vocal in a majority of people that experiences this and say, you know, I'm not really on board with that. Or he may be a vocal minority and just kind of plucked out because, you know, he has this opinion. I do remember when Battlefield 5 came out, there was some argument in this and that whenever this two sides were going back and forth on like, well, this shouldn't be in there because it's not historically accurate. And it's like, well, dying and respawning isn't historically accurate. And then there was this whole greater debate about war games in general, and do they actually like what's the word I'm looking for, kind of like demean or downtrodden the military because they do romanticize something that is inherently vicious and violent. I don't feel that way. I don't feel like it's desensitizing. I feel like if I was to go and have to do this, I'd be a crying little baby because it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. I mean, do you feel like that could be true, or do you feel like that could be false?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that, you know, like, obviously war is a horrific thing. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to argue that. But as far as saying, like, it's, well, I'm trying to remember how you said the quote, romanticizing war in an unhealthy way. I don't know. First of all, I don't know how you romanticize it in a healthy way. It's not a very romantic thing. But as far as, like, him saying, like, stylized action, I mean, I can appreciate, you know, the way that he feels, and it's probably a very traumatic thing for him to see people absorbing the kind of stuff that he had to deal with in real life. But that being said, I don't agree with the position just because last I checked, looking at his Wikipedia page here at the very least, he's not a doctor of psychology or anything like that. So I don't know that just because he experienced that, he's in a position where he can speak to the impact of media on the psychology of the masses. You know, if he shows me his sociology degree or he has some background in psychology, I would take his position more seriously. But as it stands, I mean, yeah, is war absolutely horrific? Yes, it is. But I don't think realistically any of us that play war games think to ourselves like, oh, you know what? I bet real war would be awesome. I don't think that. You know, like I even have friends who are like, hey man, you want to get a concealed carry permit or are you interested in guns? I'm like, no, I'm happy to shoot aliens in Halo, but that's about as far as it goes for me. So I think the position that like, just randomly choosing a boogeyman saying, oh, this is dehumanizing people. Like, what's your basis for that? Show me evidence.
So real quick, originally this came from JRE, Joe Rogan Experience podcast. The excerpt I got was from GameSpot. Brian brought it up in the chat. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. But he was actually on JRE is where he was talking about this. I completely agree with you to that point, but I also don't agree with you on. It's just I believe in firearm. I like concealed carry. That's all fine. Even to this day, though, like I don't romanticize ever having to use a weapon ever.
Right,
like, it's like the last thing I want to do. But in reality, like if somebody comes in my home, be able to defend myself. I don't conceal carry. I don't carry, but I do protect the castle. You know, I have that's about as far as it goes.
I'll throw in my 2 cents here. Okay, so I have a concealed carry. I never in my life ever want to have to use it ever, never.
So let me ask you this: have you ever romanticized? Have you ever fancied a war game or
I go to the shooting range every now and then and go there and target and practice, and that's it.
Do you think that a war video game, Battlefield 5, Call of Duty, do you think it's in any way inherently demeaning to the military or what they do?
No, I mean, it's a video game. If you think, properly and understand you're playing a game, that's real life, it's separate. The soldiers, they go through a lot of things to be able to do that. And I had an ex-girlfriend that was in the military, and, she played the war games with me. And
where's the like Saving Private Ryan bashing? You know what I mean? Like, where's the?
Yeah, that's the point I was gonna make. Is typically video games.
Well, he did
tend to
say
be
entertainment. He did say entertainment.
But he's focusing it.
I know he focused on video games. He also did drop entertainment there. Well, all right. What I do in these situations is I like to try to put myself in the place of the person who said said thing, and then like sort of process it that way. Like, I get what he's saying. I agree with him to an extent that I don't know if they're romanticizing war, but let's be real. People like the drama of war. That's the reason why it's an entertainment aspect. Like you said, Saving Private Ryan was like the biggest movie forever. Like it was a huge movie, big movie. Why do people like it? Because it went there. It was gory. It actually went to the extent to show you like this is what war actually was, and it was like a shock factor for a lot of people. So I think it's just people just like that shock factor. I don't think, me personally, I'm not romanticizing about going to war. That's the last thing I want to do. As a matter of fact, I don't even play a lot of first person shooters in like that, like because it doesn't interest me. So for me personally, it doesn't interest me. But he might have a point with some, because I know some young kids that do play these games and say, "Oh, I want to be in," because they think it's going to be like that. There are kids that are like that.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I play IL2 and I play War Thunder and whatnot, and I play flight sims. When I'm doing that, I am gonna be completely honest. I romanticize being a World War II fighter pilot. I love the concept. I don't love war. I don't want to go to war, but I do romanticize the concept of being somebody who survived multiple sorties and came home from however many tours of duty they did. Like, I do romanticize that certain aspect. I love the Air Force. I love propeller planes. I do romanticize being a fighter pilot to some degree, but not to the degree that I would want to actually be one.
No.
Ever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like I love watching Matt Murdock beat the hell out of people in Hell's Kitchen. I'm not going to go out and get a suit and give it a shot. You know what I mean?
Well, you can't do that. Now you can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
off the table.
And that's I don't know, and that's the other thing. I also just think that that's like such an obvious double standard, right? We herald movies or film experiences like Band of Brothers or Saving Private Ryan and call them these patriotic achievements. But then when you do the same thing in a video game, then suddenly it's like, that's dehumanized people. Even though the gore and stuff that you would see in those films is far worse than anything we've been able to replicate in the video game thus far.
But I mean, you take it even before movies existed, books did the same exact thing. Even like historical time and place references when they were kind of trying to log the experiences of the Civil War, right? They did it in great detail because they wanted to tell people a story of how it felt being there. The only thing that a movie or a video game does is they sell it in a different fashion to show like, here's what it's like being there, but not really. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, even a book, right? They probably tweaked a little bit to sell a book. So, I mean, it's just the same thing of everything else. I don't know. I find it's an interesting subject.
When I first started playing Call of Duty games before we had all the online stuff, I played them because they had some historical significance in them. They taught you about the different tanks, different weapons that they used and things like that. And so it was a experience, and I loved history as a kid. Not so much now, but I just enjoyed learning those things. It wasn't about me, like you guys said, going to war. It taught me stuff that I never probably would have learned because I'm not a huge reader. So playing it in a game and learning from me was. Which is
why I liked the Call of Duty World War II games so much, because they had an awesome single player experience to where you could even play as like a spy, and you went through and they went through like the different story beats of different people's experience, and I was like, oh man, this is fantastic. I didn't like the multiplayer really at all because that's just not my cup of tea, but the story was awesome. But typically the Call of Duty games or even Battlefield now, they kind of stray away from story, and it's just a bang bang shooter, play with your friends, go online kind of thing. They kind of stray away from any storytelling for the most part, at least in current state.
And that's something else that kind of irritates me about like when things like this come out, because that's the thing. For me, it's just the kind of appeal to authority that doesn't really always make sense, right? And I can disagree with what Dakota Meyer says without diminishing his real life accomplishments or anything, right? I'm not taking anything away from him by saying that I don't think the evidence is there. You're not an expert in this field, so I don't think he's qualified to speak to its effect on people. Again, like you can disrespect with, or you can disagree with somebody respectfully, is what I'm trying to say, but not necessarily feel like, oh, this dude's a jerk. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'll just disrespect this guy all day. But no, like, and I feel like that's just a common thing that always gets said. And I think we saw it too, like with comic books, when there was just the Comics Code Authority, which was just this manufactured authoritative, body that was like, ooh, this is bad. You can't have this in a comic book. You can't have this in a comic book, even though those people weren't any smarter than the average Joe. So to just kind of randomly assign expertise to somebody based on like this appeal to authority is just inherently irritating.
Yeah, it's a tricky subject because he says that when he sees these things he's horrified because he's got to deal with it. He probably has ways of dealing with it, but I also know plenty of guys that are in the military that's all they will play is Battlefield and Call of Duty. I have a few friends that are like, yo, I'm playing a new Call of Duty. This game is dope. I'm playing this Battlefield. This game is dope because they like it. So I think it really just I don't know. It's a tricky subject. Like he definitely doesn't speak for everyone, but I think it was just coming from a personal place of his because he's going through sounds like some sort of PTSD, and seeing these games brings it back up and stuff.
When typically you read these kind of think pieces or hear these type of interviews too, a lot of times, and I don't know because I didn't watch it, but a lot of times it's a point of view outside looking in. A lot of times it's not really like an inside looking out type of thing to where you ask them like, well, have you played it? And they don't really ever go into great detail of how often they've played or if they've given it a try. A lot of times it's just kind of what they have, a figmentation of what they have of what it is. Without actually giving it a shot. And a lot of times, like you said, when people do play, it's not exactly lighthearted because it's gory, etc. But for the most part, it's not really like meant to be a one for one in any kind of fashion. So I always kind of wonder where their mindset or what their experience with, at least with the game side of it, where their experience lies with games in general. Is it rooted in they've tried it? Is it rooted in they've given it a shot? I just like to always kind of see where that side of the coin comes from too.
Who
knows? Hey.
I mean, the only thing that we know is Call of Duty came out today, but a game that we actually really, really want to play, we're going to have to wait a freaking long time to do. And that is The Last of Us. That's The Last of Us 2. We're going to have to wait until May 2020. Yo, Avidon comes in hard with a $20 dono. This man. He says,
$20 for 2020.
What up? Yo, that is a perfectly timed dono. Yo, thank you for that. That deserves the Rax horns. Nice. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate you.
Good luck.
Double guns for you, sir. Thank you so much for that. And the title of the article we're reading is The Last of Us Part 2 is delayed till May 2020. Dropping them $20 bills. This is coming from Polygon. The Last of Us Part 2 has been delayed till May 29th, 2020. Developer Naughty Dog and Sony Interactive Entertainment said on Thursday. The PlayStation 4 exclusive was previously slated for February 21st, 2020 release date, but The Last of Us game director Neil Druckmann says, "We simply didn't have enough time to bring the entire game up to a level of polish we would call Naughty Dog quality." Even though The Last of Us Part 2 has been a long time coming, today's announcement comes as something of a surprise. Naughty Dog and Sony announced a February launch for the PS4 game just last month alongside new gameplay previews and a new trailer for The Last of Us Part 2. In a post on the PlayStation blog, Druckmann explained the delay. He says it was during the last few weeks as we were closing out sections of the game that we realized we simply didn't have enough time to bring the entire game up to a level of polish we would call Naughty Dog quality. At this point, we were faced with two options. compromise parts of the game or get more time. We went with the latter, and this new release date also allows us to finish everything to our level of satisfaction while also reducing stress on the team. While we're relieved we won't have to compromise our vision, we're disappointed that we weren't able to avoid this exact situation. We wish we could have foreseen the amount of polish we needed. The size and scope of this game got the better of us. We hate disappointing our fans, and for that we're sorry.
I call BS on this.
Everything's about money.
I call BS on this. I call BS on this, bro. I'm sorry. I call BS on this. I believe the game's done. I believe the game's done. That release date leaves it single-handedly in a position where that game is out by itself.
Yes.
Think about it. Think about that.
Stole my point.
Like what's coming out in February? Like a bunch of games come out in February. Final Fantasy's coming in there. Then we got Cyberpunk coming in April, along with like that leaves itself like that's Memorial. That's gonna be Memorial Day weekend. Like that's going to leave it in a spot where that game is out completely by itself. I call BS on this. Well, okay, but I call BS on this. There's dude, this is money talking. I believe the game has been done. This is money talking.
Because I can finish the first one because I just started playing it.
Oh, you'll have time. But I will say I completely agree.
I'm still playing it.
With Nick's position here. I'm not saying like the delay was purely because of money. I think they may have honestly wanted to do some tweaks or improve some things.
Maybe.
If so, I don't care if they delay the game till 2030. I don't care. I know it's going to be amazing. I'm happy if they're improving the quality. But to Nick's point, I think it's brilliant that they're doing it in May because they have no competition. There's no Final Fantasy VII to contend with. There's no Doom Eternal to contend with. There's no Animal Crossing. There's like Animal Crossing may not have been quite in the same wheelhouse, but you know what I mean? Like there's way less releases except for the Avengers, which honestly is kind of a crapshoot at this point because people are iffy on the Avengers right now. Clearly, iffy on the Avengers.
Come on, man.
So you know. It is going to sort of have the month of May all to itself to shine without having to worry about consumers walking into a Best Buy, walking into a GameStop and being like, ooh, do I want to spend my money on Doom or do I want to spend it on The Last of Us 2?
Dude, they released it the same time with Last of Us 1. God of War came out the same time, in 2018? Like,
yeah,
dude, this is a strategic placement by Sony. It has to be boom. It has to be.
Question: a week ago, they held a press event for a bunch of people in, like the Game Informers, the IGNs, all the people. They held that to show off the game in lieu of them recently announcing, when it's going to be coming out. Why? Isn't the timing? Doesn't that feel kind of off to do all of this shenanigans and then just say, well, we're going to push it back a quarter of a year? I just feel like I don't know if I feel like it.
When was it supposed to originally come out again?
February.
In February.
I mean, it's only 3
2 months. That's a quarter of a year.
It's only 3 months behind. 3 months later. But I'm just saying that's too convenient.
Yeah,
that is too.
It is. I really like your theory about it. I mean, considering nothing really else has been announced.
Like dude, perfectly. You have all these pressures. You build the hype up. People are gonna play it. Oh, this game is great mechanically. Then they say, well, maybe we just need to polish a few things and make it a little better. Oh, by the way, May. Like this is too convenient. It's too convenient.
The other thing I'll say, like, if that is pure spin that we're looking at in that statement, it's masterfully done because not only do they talk about we want to polish it, not only do they give themselves the out of like this lonely month of May where they can shine without a competition, but then as a nice little cherry on top, they're like, you know what, our team's kind of stressed out, we want to give them a break.
Right,
in an industry where crunch time is right. In an era where crunch time is so brutal, when you hear these horror stories, they're like, hey, we just want to give everyone a break.
Which is true. They did come out and say, our people are going to get holidays off. They don't want to work through the holidays. We're going to do right by our
good guy, Naughty Dog.
Yeah,
Naughty Dog quality.
Because we didn't do alternative crunch
life. That Naughty Dog quality life, bro.
Man, you can't get past that Naughty Dog quality. And I think that this too in chat. I want to bring up real quick 2 points. First one, D-Dub says, and I don't know what you guys agree to this. I'm really not on the tracking this game across the board, but he states, if it was ready, wouldn't they want to release it right now for the holiday?
Nope.
Second piece, Discard says Death Stranding and Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us are the only Sony exclusives we know of yet, right?
Right.
Which we can now assume Ghost of Tsushima is going to be further along in the year because it was probably going to come out around this time.
It's going to be a next-gen game.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
So why wouldn't they want to push it by the holidays? Too much to contend with.
Well-
I got no horse in this race. I'm just curious what you.
I'm
So,
well. I mean, look at all
literally
the
this
games
next-
coming out, dude.
Yeah, literally
It's true.
this next month we have Sword and Shield. I mean, that is already going to be taking up like the majority of a lot of people's time.
You guys heard it here first. Pokemon's taking over the damn world.
Sword and Shield. Well, it will. It's Pokemon, but Sword and Shield,
Jedi.
Star
Do you
Wars.
do you think having a lot of
Stranding.
games around
Death
stops
Stranding.
people from buying it though?
And
Because I
when
mean,
we know-
just Dom, like you
Garbage.
buy a game every week doesn't necessarily mean you're playing it, but you still got to purchase it.
I'm an anomaly though. I mean, most
Yeah,
people
you
can
can't.
only
You can't
choose
count
one.
this.
Here's one thing we do know: Sony does not
As
like
everybody.
competing with itself.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and
That's
Death
one thing we
Stranding.
do know
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
releases. They do not like competing with themselves. They do spread their exclusives out, like in dates that are well away from each other, and they do strategically place their events in like specific months that nobody's buying anything. Like Death Stranding is an anomaly because it's Kojima. People are gonna play it anyway. Then they have Final Fantasy Remake coming out in March. Like
Well,
it would have been crazy for them to have Last of Us 2 at the end of February, Final Fantasy toward the when is it coming out? The beginning? Is it the end of March or beginning of March? Like
middle,
March 20th?
middle,
in the middle of
yeah,
March? Like that's 3 weeks. You know, like
enough time.
it just not enough. It makes enough sense for them to push this back. Like the engineer who was that DW that said why would it come out in holiday? They don't want to compete with themselves. They just won't.
Gotcha.
My theory on why they wouldn't want to do it either is one is I think they realize that they don't have to compete. I think they know they've got a hit on their hands already. I mean, even early reception has been extremely positive for The Last of Us 2. And the other thing too is if they wanted to hedge their bets just to be safe, it's not like this is unheard of, right? Even Marvel, the cinematic juggernaut, right? They pushed back Infinity War, or they bumped up Infinity War so it wouldn't have to compete with Deadpool 2 when it dropped. So I think there is a legitimate thing there. Like, I don't know if their mentality is, oh no, it's so great we can push it out whenever we want, it's going to make money, or if they're just like, let's even though everything's looking great, maybe we hedge our bets a little bit and push it back just a little bit, just in case someone is split on it.
This happens all the time. Like we know Nintendo got Pikmin 3 and Metroid Trilogy just sitting in the bank, just waiting to push that out for a good time. The companies make these decisions all the time. So I mean, yeah, as we explained it, that kind of makes sense. And when you think, I think Nick said that when you think about Final Fantasy VII, that being like a Sony exclusive, at least that's kind of how you associate Final Fantasies to PlayStation. But then in May you have the Avengers game, which is still Square Enix, but it's not associated to anything. So marketing wise, I think that kind of makes sense.
So I want to ask Adrian, if you're playing the first one right now for the first time, I am as well. Are you A, enjoying yourself, and B, do you already have this on your radar to pick up when it does come out?
Yes, I am enjoying the game so far. Little bits and pieces have been hard for me to learn because it's a different kind of gameplay than I'm used to. I honestly didn't hear about Last of Us 2 until I saw Josh talking about it or tweeting about it or something. I don't pay huge attention to new game launches all the time. Like I feel like everyone else has a lot more because you guys got podcasts and things, so you keep up on the news a little better than I do. I play a lot of old games.
That's cool. I understand. I play some niche games too.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. I love the game. I can't wait to further the story. I'm streaming it, so it takes a little bit longer to play through, but yeah.
I see you there. Yeah, she's playing through it for the first time too, so I'm interested to know, what do you think about Last of Us 2? You interested in it now?
Still hate Ellie.
Oh,
whoa!
Hater.
Yo,
Savage.
You know what?
Savage hot takes
I applaud you for that hot take, and I applaud you for standing up for what you believe in. Because there's a lot of people that will tear you down for that opinion. Josh,
Yeah, Josh is one of them.
I think Cynthia's straight up like, because I watched her stream the part where Ellie saves Joel in one sequence, and I saw the look on Cynthia's face. She doesn't hate Ellie. She's lying to you.
No,
All
I fucking hate her. I fucking
She's
hate her.
lying.
I was legitly surprised. I was like,
you want to lie to your people?
Okay.
I'm not here to judge, Cynthia.
I'm
Okay,
not
we're
lying.
friends. All right, it's fine.
I
It's fine.
legitimately hate her. I
I get it.
immediately liked the other kid the
This
second
is a
I saw
farce
him.
perpetuated by the liberal left. This is nonsense.
Hey,
This is West
Cynthia,
Coast nonsense.
Cynthia, Cynthia,
Hey,
I'm
whoa.
right now. believe in what you believe in, even if it costs you everything. Just keep believing in what you believe in. I got you
What
back.
did it cost?
100%.
Everything.
Even if you have to delude yourself, just believe in what you need to believe in.
Believe in
Fine.
something,
Delude
even if it
yourself?
costs you
wanna-
everything.
You want to
Just
talk about
do it.
deluding yourself again?
Absolutely. Let's not go here. We're not going to do this. Low blow, Cynthia.
I think Ellen Page is overrated. Is that count?
So if
Yes, let's talk about Ellen
That is
Page now.
but here's my deal. So Cynthia, if you don't like her, like she's like the main focus of 2. Like
yeah,
like you're really gonna hate 2 if
well,
that's the case.
don't spoil it for me. I still have no idea
don't
where
spoil it.
the ending is at. I
No,
was
I'm just saying.
hoping that the little
I'm just saying.
brat
Watch
fucking
no,
dies.
I'm not.
Watch the trailer.
No, I'm not. Yeah, watch the trailer. That's all I'm saying. Like she's the main focus. If you watch the trailer, she's like the main. That's what I'm saying,
really
bro. Be real with you, I haven't finished Last of Us 2, so I can't spoil anything for you. So don't forget it. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just saying when you look at the trailer, like
You finished 2. It's not
She's
even out
there.
yet.
like it could, like that Will Smith meme.
He's from the future.
Like there it is. Like she's right there. Like she's gonna be the main
Yeah.
focus.
No,
Anything
I've
bad that's gonna happen to her, she's not gonna die now because there's a game coming out.
Yeah,
based on
I mean
her.
that's all they have.
Thanks.
Spoiler alert:
Yeah,
she doesn't
right.
die because you see her in the next game.
Though, I mean, that was the only thing I was fucking banking on was like, I hope this brat dies. I was like,
Well, you can't.
the wrong
Oh
kid
my
died.
gosh.
Okay?
You're
playing the wrong
fucking
game.
Kid died.
Playing the wrong game.
Wow. I mean,
I was okay. The
I
problem
still
is,
support you. I still
look at the
support you.
problem
But
is,
real
the
hate
reason
coming
why
right
I
now.
have such hate to her is because I immediately fell in love with Sarah. I immediately fell in love
Oh,
with
so,
her. And I was
it's a
like,
jealous child deal thing. Okay.
the wrong fucking kid died. I'm not joking.
Whoa.
I'm very upset about it.
I mean,
Like,
I kind of agree with you.
I cried
Character
for
building.
her. Okay.
Character
I like
building.
Sarah. I like Sarah
Character
immediately.
building.
She had that little country twang. She was nice.
Yeah, I feel like even my character, because I have so much hate in her, like whenever my character speaks to her, I was like, he fucking hates you too. Just deal with it. No one likes you.
No one likes you.
Brian, I'm dead inside. That's what's happening.
That's
I
too
mean, but
funny.
that's where I'm at with the game. I'm curious to see how it ends, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever like her.
You will.
We'll see at the end.
Josh is
You
committed.
do.
He's like, you will. You'll love her. Give me your favorite character.
Josh is really upset about this.
That's for sure.
Nick, I know you're upset about it too on the inside.
Oh, sorry, what was that, Adrian?
Inside.
I don't have an opinion.
So before we move on from this too, did you guys hear the news that popped out this morning with the Ubisoft investors call? So apparently they are pushing back and delaying Watch Dogs, God and Monsters, and the new Rainbow Six expansion due to basically all I heard them was basically crying a bunch of tears because the latest Ghost Recon game didn't make enough money, so therefore they're pushing back all of their games at the next fiscal year.
Hey, raise your hand if you care. My point.
And moving
My
on.
point. We don't mess. Hey, we don't mess with the Ubisoft over here, especially after the debacle. We don't mess with Ubisoft. You ban a bunch of players. You ban a bunch of people for streaming your conference. Like we don't mess with Ubisoft over here. We are banning Ubisoft over here in the Nintendo Direct universe or Studio Nintendo universe. Let me correct that. So no Ubisoft. We don't do that.
Unless it's the Rabbids, right? The Rabbids are they're safe.
Well, Rabbids is that's my wife.
Different,
She
right?
loves Rabbids, but
It's
me,
different.
no Just Dance. Even though she wants it really bad, no Just Dance.
No Just Dancing.
No, none
Wow.
of that. Gods and Monsters, whatever. That looks like trash. Rainbow Six Siege, For Honor. No, get it all out.
Ubisoft, more like duty soft.
Yeah,
am I
Dookie
right?
sauce, baby.
Ew,
Dookie.
duty soft.
Dookie soft over there, man. Let's charge you $15 for our own game subscription because for all the games that we have that nobody wants to play.
Oh,
In other words,
Good lord,
Ubisoft pushing back quality this year.
for real.
right?
Yeah. Good one. Like that.
Now, if they make a Mario Rabbids Kingdom 2, then I might have to buy it. I will be hypocritical there. They make a Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom, like I will play that because that game was a joy to play and it was.
It
really
was
good.
fantastic.
So I will be hypocritical there, but it's because it's Mario, not because it's Ubisoft.
It was all right.
It's fair.
Facts. Moving on. Pokemon. Chris, tell us about some Pokemon stuff.
We
Let's
never
go.
talk about Pokemon on this channel. Why are we starting?
Never ever.
Never.
But we
Never.
will start with this. A rumor has been confirmed to be false, and that is that Pokemon Sword and Shield will not have players visiting regions outside of Galar. This is coming from Games Radar. If you're even a teeny bit invested in Pokemon Sword and Shield, you may have heard a fan theory that the game may well feature at least some connections to a second region beyond the brand new region, Galar.
That's true.
The theory goes that the game could connect to the Kalos region from Pokemon X and Y. Now that might sound bonkers, but so many people latched onto it because there is a plausible connection and some in-game nods that suggested it may be true. However, the theory has now been shown to be false by a dead Pokemon company. When we asked the director, not going to say it, about the fan theory...
Omori.
There we go. Omori. And the possibility of traveling to another region in Pokemon Sword and Shield, he said... No. He said, in this particular game, there's no plan to send people to other regions at the moment, but there is still plenty to do post-game that we really can't go into detail on. Even the Dex collecting alone, a shorthand for Pokedex, there's a lot to do there for players to enjoy, so there's plenty to do after the game. But with regard to other regions, nah.
So this fan theory was because of a lot of the other games that have allowed you to go into a different region, such as Johto or Kanto, or the different regions that you could go to post-game. So everybody, myself included, was hoping that something of this nature existed, especially on the first foray into the Nintendo Switch and being on the home console. But they crushed all of our dreams, but we can still look forward to some kind of post-game content. My dreams, Nick. My goddamn dreams. They crushed them.
I mean,
has there ever been a precedent for that? And like, I'm coming from yellow.
Yeah. You used to be able to, like, after, what was it, like in gold, silver. Ever since then, it's kind of been a thing where you've been able to go to different regions and get their Pokemon. But in this case, it's like, no.
Is that counting you out from the game now, Nintendo Studio?
No,
Nintendo?
I'm gonna get the game. I'm gonna play the game.
No,
I am not. Here's the deal. I am not a Pokemon purist. Okay. The last Pokemon game that I have played was whichever ones were on the Game Boy Advance. So that tells you how long ago it's been. So
Fire Red, Leaf Green.
Yeah, Fire Red, Leaf Green. I have not played any Pokemon since then. So don't ask me, hey, you played Pokemon X and Y? No, I haven't. I'm not a Pokemon purist.
Ones I played too.
So like, me in the chat, like, I'm excited to play this strictly as coming back into the Pokemon franchise. So for me, this game is fine. I don't care. I'm going to enjoy it. But for the Pokemon purists, y'all cry a lot about this game.
Dude,
like,
honestly, I saw a meme and it was very spot on. Pokemon fans plays the same fucking game for 10 years. Pokemon Sword and Shield, suddenly, I have standards. This is outrageous. I don't understand where it's coming from.
You know what? The internet. I mean, it just comes from the internet.
That's what it is.
It bugs me too, because I am like I have played more hours than most people have played any MMOs inside of all of the Pokemon games. I have 400 of like my 6th playthrough through X and Y. I have like 400 hours in there. It's like it's something you shouldn't say out loud and expect people to be like, oh, that's cool. But at the same time, it's like, in no way am I like angry about this. Game Freak, people don't know what they want until they got it. You know, it's just one of those symptoms of people just crying about a direction they wanted to go in. And ultimately, if Game Freak was to listen, you would get something that was like Fallout 76 or something. You would get just something that's just broken, or like WWE is just terrible. They need to go in the direction they want to, because people don't necessarily know what they want from this. They just want something different. So I'm just excited to play whatever
different,
they give
but
us.
all of the old stuff that they've given us forever.
I feel like they are making these changes to feel you guys out. They're making these changes to see what they can do, what they can't do. I feel like they want to make a bigger, better experience for people, but they feel like they can't do that because fans will be upset and they'll complain about it. So they're slowly starting to implement all these changes, slowly but surely.
I am such a Pokemon fan. I have the Pokemon Channel game on the GameCube. I've had it since it came out, and it's just the anime. It's just the anime gamified. Like, I mean, I've got the mystery dungeons and everything else. If it has the word Pokemon on there, I'll play. I played Puzzle Quest. I hated it. She played it. She loved it. We all, whatever. It all worked out.
You're a different breed. Every Pokemon fan that I've dealt with, like, they don't change anything. Like, I don't understand it. Like, you have to change and you have to get better, or the game's just gonna stink. Like, what they say the definition of insanity is. But like,
yeah.
The game has to get better. This is me coming from the outside looking in, so I'm ignorant. But I thought Pokemon by now would have been Skyrim, and we would just be in this world. Cool. Like I figured we would be there now, but we're not there now because one, they keep putting the game on they put the game out on handheld exclusively for a while, so that has a lot to do with it. But I feel like that's where the game could be headed, but you guys won't let it get there, and you're stealing that from me. I want it to happen.
No, I feel like what happens is my honest opinions. I feel like what happens is this game skews from my 5-year-old or soon to be 5-year-old all the way to me, the old ass man who shouldn't be playing Pokemon really, right? I think, and because of that age group, it has to kind of make all of those people in the middle happy, from the 5-year-old to the 35-year-old. You know what I mean? Like, it has to kind of get all of our tastes. So at the same time, it's like that's kind of what stops it from being the Skyrim is. Would that be overcomplicated for the 6-year-old, 8-year-old to just grab and play? Fair enough. And it would be.
You just appealed to my fathership, because my kids are just now getting into Pokemon, and they love Pokemon Go, and they love the battle system, and they're only like 5 and 6, and they understand the battle system and how it works. So you just appealed to my father's side. You're right, but. Yeah. Quit trying to steal Pokemon Skyrim from me, please. I need this to happen.
Why can't? Does it have to be mutually exclusive? Can we have an offshoot? Does it have?
Just let that happen. Right? I don't care. Go out. Out. Game Freak, team up with Breath of the Wild and say, hey, forget Breath of the Wild 2. We're gonna make Pokemon Open World. This can be our own separate game, and then we used to have Dookie Pokemon over here.
Pokemon Snap 2.
I'm just waiting for Pokemon Stadium. Give me Stadium. Give me Stadium on the Switch.
Pokemon Coliseum.
Even that, I'll take it.
That game was good. That game was good back in the day, man.
That was pretty good.
Game, and I love that concept. And then now we have to go back to Dookiemon.
Well, I wanted to ask Adrian too. Like, I'm somebody who hasn't played since like Yellow, and you said what, like Fire Red was like the last one you played, or something like that, or the era. So, being somebody who plays, the retro, what do you like? Do you have any interest in Sword and Shield? Are you interested at all? Do you like an older style?
My buddy pre-ordered it for me for my birthday.
Oh, nice.
So I have it waiting for me, regardless of whether I wanted to play it or not. I wanted to play it with him.
That's fun.
It did pique my interest more because I didn't have to pay for it.
Right.
I'll be honest, I probably wouldn't have bought it otherwise, just because I wanted some other games more. But as far as the way the game's changed, no, I don't have any care in the world on how much different it is from the other ones. It'll probably bug me at first because I won't know what I'm doing, but there'll be tiny changes, I'm sure, that I'll be like, well, this wasn't in the Game Boy Advanced ones.
What is your favorite? I'm curious because it's my first time meeting you too. I'm just curious. What's your favorite like long running franchise? As somebody, yeah.
Oh boy. I would have to say one of my favorite franchises, which does not exist anymore, is gonna be Burnout. I love racing games.
Yeah.
I loved those. Paradise was okay, but it wasn't classic. That one hurt me when they made that.
Takedown, baby, Takedown.
Takedown, the best. I have the PSP ones. I play them on my Vita all the time.
Yeah, I played countless hours of just setting up that insanity and just trying to see on what kind of how many points and stuff I could rack up. I love Burnout. I
stayed up with one of my friends hours, made him late for work days playing it on PS2. So yeah, I'd say that's probably one of my favorite franchises that I can think of right off the top of my head. I did love Pokemon when I was young a lot, but when it came into the DS thing, I just wasn't a fan of things in it. So
that's
fair enough.
Any last closing Pokemon thoughts? Nick?
I'm not playing. I'm in the store and I get ready to add Pokemon to my wish list, so I don't have to search through this terrible eShop whenever it does come out, because that's one thing that it's gonna be awful.
The eShop brought to you by the fine folks at
Oh my gosh, the eShop. Oh, by the way, I do got a question for y'all. Which I got a question for y'all. Which version will you guys be getting? Will you be getting the package edition where you get both, or will you just be getting one or the other?
I'm getting Sword, I believe. That's what I got.
Shield.
So I ended up buying each one separate because Best Buy had a $10 reward if you buy each one separate, so I got $20 back as opposed to them buying the double pack, which you only got one $10 reward.
That makes sense.
So that's the reason I bought both separate. But now that I've recently seen the Target Steelbook,
that Target Steelbook is
that does look cool.
Holy shit.
I'm
it
starting to
looks so
rethink
good.
my. I don't know.
Take the $20 off or get the Steelbook.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, $20 back, I guess.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at there. So, but I'm playing Shield. She's playing Sword. We're basically going to turn into mostly a Pokemon channel for about a month when this thing comes out.
I mean, why not?
I'm Dom the Pokatuber over here. That's me
Ooh,
now.
am I going to have the new one by then? Not the light. I'm not getting the fucking light.
Oh, and we're also getting that Switch Lite.
No, we're not.
I'm getting a Switch Lite as soon as I go back to work and I get my stuff.
In November, I believe.
Yeah, exactly.
Not getting that.
How are you going to balance that and Wii Fit Ring Adventure, Dom?
If I am allowed to buy one Ring Fit Adventure, I may have to find a way to balance it. I'm gonna have to watch Josh stream it first to make sure that I have
I'll
the
only
pro,
give you permission if Josh
Sorry, I'll be too
sends
busy
it.
tending my Funko collection, but I'll think about it. Yes, thanks.
What's your address? I'll make sure that happens.
Get doxxed by the looters. This has become a very curious evening.
It always does here on the LootCast. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and with that being said, I think that was the last subject of the night, right, Mono?
It was, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. For a second, I was like, "Wow, you're closing us out tonight." All right.
Yeah, I
No,
thought so too. I was
absolutely
like, "Yo,
not.
well, take it away, my friend."
No.
I mean, you started it already.
But yeah, thank you everybody in the chat. You guys are amazing. We've had like 20, 25 people in here throughout the whole stream. You guys are freaking awesome. Thank you guys for making this a amazing show tonight. Thank you, Avanov, for coming through, dropping a $20 bomb, and then just like dipping out and saying,
Crazy.
"Yo, bye guys. I appreciate ya." Yo, that was awesome. It was right on time too with the 2020 mark. Thank you everybody for coming in.
$5 ahead.
We definitely appreciate it. Thank you to Morrow and Sushi and Chris Levi for stopping by, Lily for doing your homework and chilling with us the whole time. Thank you, Brian, for coming in, Blanket, everybody in the stream. We appreciate it. I'm going to leave it to my astute panel. We'll do some closing thoughts and tell people where you can find them, starting with Mr. Not Another Game Collector. Thanks for joining us this week.
Thank you for having me. Had a blast. You can find me at Not Another Game Collector on YouTube. You can find me at Adrian Red Olvera on Twitter because for some reason I didn't get my Not Another Game Collector name when I made that. And then I do have an Instagram that is also Not Another Game Collector, where I put pictures up of my game collection and things like that, and food. Lots of food.
Yum.
Other than that, yeah, those are about the only places you can find me. I stream about 2 times a week, and those are kind of random right now. So, yep.
Awesome. Yeah, if you guys haven't already, please make sure you guys head over to his channel. Make sure you guys go and subscribe. I'll be putting his link in the channel right now. And that leads me over into the man in the middle making his appearance tonight, Mr. Studio Nintendo. Thanks for stopping by.
Hey man, thanks a lot, bro. It was a lot of fun on the LootCast. It's a lot of fun. You guys can catch me at youtube.com/Studio Nintendo if you want to hear video game covers, rendition, heavy stuff. You can check that out if you like it. Hit that subscribe button. Everything's Studio Nintendo though. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, all that stuff. Studio Nintendo. Check it all out.
Beautiful. And his channel's in the description, so if you guys want to go and follow and subscribe, make sure you guys do that. This man, you hit the iTunes soon this week, right?
That is true. Yeah. So also my music is all iTunes and Spotify as well. So if you want to check it out there, I've been putting all my singles up. Luigi's Mansion's gonna go up sometime this week. Well, maybe not this week because it's taking a while, so it might be next week. But I'm trying to get that up there soon. The Luigi's Mansion cover, but I am putting out all a volume 1 album, which is like all the stuff I did at the beginning that I didn't get to put up. That'll be coming next month sometime. So be on the lookout for that.
Definitely be checking that out.
Beautiful. So make sure you guys head over there. I'll be adding it to my Apple iTunes collection. Makes it easy peasy.
Yes, sir.
And that leads me over into Ring Fit Adventure himself, Mr. You're Player 2. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Why? To be fair, I did forget to mention earlier.
I told you, Pair Streamers.
So, all right, first off, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
All jokes aside. Second of all, I did forget to mention, to be fair, at the beginning of this, in the intro piece, I have been playing Ring Fit Adventure. It's a whole lot of fun. Cynthia, however, has been trying to harangue me all week long into streaming, which isn't going to happen. She's even threatened me with incriminating, falsely collected
Evidence.
stuff.
We have Photoshop. We can make
it's gonna bomb up my race for Senate someday.
Let me
an out of context thing.
You said let me find it.
No, I have the screenshot. That's in the chat now.
But yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. And then what I will say, if you're not familiar with my channel, I'm your player too. Essentially, what I try to do over on my channel is create content that either informs, encourages, or inspires you in some way. If you're somebody who also makes video game content on YouTube, that's kind of home for me. That's what I like to make. To that end, I am rapidly approaching the end of a 90-day live stream experiment where basically every morning I've been going live about 8 a.m. Eastern, and that's Monday through Friday. And I'm going to be ending that on Halloween with a nice blowout stream. I'm going to be doing Luigi's Mansion 3 pretty much all day on Halloween if you want to swing by and check that out.
Nice.
If you want to talk to me offline, off YouTube, feel free to do so on Twitter. I just dropped the link to it in the chat there. If you want to talk there, feel free to DM me, shoot me an email. All that stuff's over on my channel. If you want to connect in some way or have any questions about YouTube, or if there's any way I can be helpful or encouraging, we'll be happy to do it. Yeah, and that's about it. Thank you guys so much again for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us for another week. And that leads me into Mr. Mono Pulse himself. And if you guys do me a favor too, if there's anybody that you guys would like to raid tonight, please begin looking or let me know. Mr. Mono Pulse, sir.
Well, really, we've got Outer Worlds coming up tomorrow. And that's going to be normal time, about 7:30 Pacific Standard Time. It'll be going on. Probably will be a longer stream because I doubt I'll be able to put that one down. So it should be a lot of fun. Then after that, of course, we'll just kind of take it by ear, but that's what's coming up in the near future. Also, just so everybody knows, it's going to be a swap. I won't be doing Monday. I will be doing this Friday, and it'll be a swap out with Dom picking up Monday as well. Just
Is
so
this
people
permanent?
know.
No, just for the launch of Outer Worlds tomorrow. And over here on the channel, I just dropped some Persona 5 Scramble news on the channel. So if you guys haven't heard any of it and you're interested in any way, shape, or form, please go check out the video. And we've been, Chris and I have been dropping reviews after reviews of the different games that we have been playing lately.
Cat Quest 2. Look for it soon.
Yes, Cat Quest 2 coming soon. And I've recorded a Witcher 3 review, kind of my impressions of it so far, of where I'm at. That should be dropping on the channel this weekend. So make sure you guys come and swing by for that as well as obviously live stream 6 days a week, except for Tuesdays, which you never know, that might change, but we're live freaking 6 days a week right here, 7:30 Pacific time, 8 p.m. on Thursday. So come by anytime you guys want, Twitch, YouTube, or Mixer. Anybody find anything to raid? Anyone to raid tonight?
I got nothing.
Let me check. Let me check.
All right, check the doobly-doos.
I mean, there's only one person on mine. It's KJ Del Rey. That's it, though.
Yeah. Person on mine as well.
You guys want to head over there?
That's up to y'all. She's playing.
Is it kids friendly?
Don't think so.
Remothered tormented fathers, but I'm the tormented father is what it says.
I'd say
I don't think so.
I love the name.
And on that note, guys, thank you